one of the great features of America is that we have political contests, that they are very hard fought, as this one is hard fought. And once the decision is made, we unite behind the man who is elected.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country.
Maria, 2.4%.
Wow.
This is the first read, the advanced read for second quarter GDP. Estimate was only for 1.8%. Talk about a strong economy. There goes that recession talk, right? And what's interesting here is the expectation was we were going to have a weaker Q2, this first read, than we had in Q1. Remember, we had a 2% read in Q1 for this year. We were thinking we were going to have a slowdown. It's the opposite, 2.4%. And, you know, even the range, this is in the high end of the range that economists were looking for. So that's pretty darn interesting.
It's about that time again. Time to talk about BIDENOMICS and how horribly the American economy is just crumbling apart.
Really, Q4 was 2.6%. So economy is still strong.
I have no bitterness, no rancor at all. I say to the president, as a fellow politician, that he did a wonderful job.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
Likely trigger Joe Biden to take a victory lap. Even though we know that inflation is eating into people's savings, but you don't see that in this number.
Oh, from a political perspective, I would imagine we'll see the president in front of microphones this morning, obviously touting this number. But I'll share a stat with you here, Maria, and it really is incredible. The jobs count has now beaten estimates 14 of the last 17 months. So we thought we were going to get a number here. It ends up being here. In this case, in the month of May, we're talking about 140,000 more jobs added than was expected. It is amazing how the estimates, people keep getting the estimate wrong.
Well, listen, this is good news for American families, isn't it, Alfredo?
Well, it is, but it isn't, Maria, because, again, you still have inflation.
Last summer, the U.S. was contending with 9.1% inflation. Today, that number is down to 2.97%.
I always love to watch these people melt down. 14 straight months of massive job numbers.
We came here for one thing, the racism.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
Build the wall. Ban the Muslims. No transgenders in the military. And we all felt a little bit safer from people that were different.
Lost. Mr. Nixon has won. The democratic process has worked its will. So now let's get on with the urgent task of uniting our country.
This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner.
But then something happened. We had to deal with Comey, then collusion, then Mueller, Stormy Daniels, and Cohen. But that's going to change. From now on, we're going to get back to what we believed all along. Mexicans are rapists.
We've had 14 straight months of not just massive job numbers, but hundreds of thousands of jobs more than was predicted. My word.
Headline here, this is a blockbuster report. This is much higher than anybody was expecting. 528,000 jobs created in the month of July is more than double the expectations, which called for job growth of 250,000. All areas of the economy actually saw job growth, including leisure, hospitality, the services industry, the industrial industry. That's all good news.
Congratulations on your victory. I hope that in the next 4 years, you will lead us to a time of peace abroad and justice at home. You have my full support in such efforts.
We'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list.
Oh, Republicans want a recession, boy. They need one before the next election. They really, really do. But now we've had 4 straight quarters of massive growth.
The economic news is so promising that the Federal Reserve has officially dropped its forecast of a recession. The economy is almost exactly where it was forecast to be, even without the downturn resulting from the pandemic. We've got 3.6% unemployment.
The president asked me to tell you that he telephoned President-elect Carter a short time ago and congratulated him on his victory.
It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment, and we will win this, and as far as I'm concerned, we already have won it.
Last quarter just came out. 2.4%.
I like my coffee dark.
Now, the reality is, you're not going to see any of this on Fox. Fox is not going to cover this. They'll have it on Fox Business in the morning, because they want to make sure that stockholders, get the good news, because that's all they care about.
The people of the United States have made their choice, and of course I accept that decision.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win.
Are Sean Hannity or maybe Laura Ingraham going to have a segment about this? Nah. They're going to have segments about how bad the economy's doing.
He has won. We are all Americans. He is our president, and we honor him tonight.
If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
They're going to have segments about Hunter Biden. Wall-to-wall coverage. About a guy that didn't check the box properly, where he did or did not use drugs in the last 3 months on a gun form. I thought Republicans were against that. Now you gotta fill out a form? Tell the government before you get your gun? Interesting that the NRA is quiet on this. You would think they would come out immediately and say this is ridiculous. Absolutely charge Hunter Biden for the tax evasion. But not that gun charge. What the hell is this? Jack-booted thugs, I say.
He will be our president, and we'll work with him. This nation faces major challenges ahead, and we must work together.
As everybody saw, we won by historic numbers.
There is important work to be done, and America must always come first. So we will get behind this new president and wish him well.
Democrat officials never believed they could win this election honestly. I really believe that. That's why they did the mail-in ballots, where there's tremendous corruption and fraud.
It's also interesting that they're constantly talking about the other thing that apparently they can prove, that Hunter Biden cheated on his taxes. Fucking A. If he cheated on his taxes, he should serve his time. Pay the fines, go to jail, whatever it is. Because if any of us did the same thing, we would go to jail.
I have said repeatedly in this campaign that the president is my opponent, not my enemy, and I wish him well, and I pledge my support.
I've had 2 elections. I won both of them. It's amazing. And I actually did much better on the second one.
Yeah. And I can say the same thing that Hillary Clinton says about her election that she lost. I can say the same thing about the DNC, who said it about the 2016 race. I can say the same thing about those in the Democratic Party from the leadership on down about George Bush not winning, that Al Gore did. But were any of them prosecuted? Were any of them put in jail? Were any of them held with no response to be able to get out? The answer is no. So yeah, you can raise that someone raised a question. And in America, you are entitled to raise a question.
This is America. Just as we fight hard when the stakes are high, we close ranks and come together when the contest is done.
That was a rigged election, but we're still fighting it, and you'll see what's going to happen.
But they're not really talking about this stuff. It's all this bullshit about, oh, they're the big guy and millions and millions of dollars going to the Biden cabal, family, crime, whatever the fuck.
But in an American election, there are no losers. Because whether or not our candidates are successful, the next morning we all wake up as Americans.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
All designed to muddy the waters. Okay, we know that Donald Trump is a complete fucking crook, but he's our nominee now, so they're crooks too. Did we say that? Did you notice they're crooks?
Whatever our differences, we are fellow Americans. And please believe me when I say no association has ever meant more to me than that.
And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal.
I so wish that I had been able to fulfill your hopes to lead the country in a different direction, but the nation chose another leader, and so Ann and I join with you to earnestly pray for him and for this great nation.
When you catch somebody in a fraud, you're allowed to go by very different rules. So I hope Mike has the courage to do what he has to do.
They're doing the exact same thing to Biden now that they did to Hillary. I mean, just ask Kevin McCarthy.
That puts a strategy to fight and win. And let me give you one example. Everybody thought Hillary Clinton was unbeatable, right? But we put together a Benghazi special committee, a select committee. What are her numbers today? Her numbers are dropping. You're entitled to question whether it was honest or not. That's the uniqueness of the First Amendment. That's the uniqueness of America. But you know what? You shouldn't be prosecuted for your thoughts. And the difference here is when Hillary Clinton said it, nothing happened to her.
It's shocking that there are people that are really stupid enough to believe any of that, because here's the thing. Hillary Clinton never challenged the results of the 2016 election. In fact, she gave a concession speech the next morning.
Donald Trump is going to be our president. We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead. Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power. And we don't just respect that, we cherish it.
And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
So stop using government to go after people who politically disagree with you. That is wrong, and that should stop now.
God. I mean, seriously, the bad acting, first of all.
Because it's their only hope. What? You think the great white hope is Ron DeSantis? Nah, I think they all realize that ship has sailed. Ha! Ship of fools, I say. Y'all take it easy. I'm Zachariah, lifestyle liberal.
They ought to throw deranged Jack Smith and his thug prosecutors in jail with meritless Garland and Trump-hating Lisa Monaco. They have totally weaponized the Department of Injustice. Whatever happened to the crooked Joe Biden boxes case? Why was Hillary Clinton allowed to delete 33,000 emails, many of them classified, after getting a subpoena from Congress? Why was Bill Clinton allowed to take tapes out of the White House in his socks? Why has no other president ever been charged? Election fraud.